As the 2024 Indian elections approach, misinformation about India proliferate in the West. Today, we'll dive into the realities of India's growth from perspective of someone who is bridging cultures from the USA to India. Srinarayanan Chandak ji. Chandak ji is an esteemed alumnus of Indian Institute of Technology and has been integral to numerous Seva projects and has lived in the USA for over 60 years. Namaste Chandak ji, how are you?
Namaste. Thank you, Vaishnavi for giving me a chance to have a conversation with you.
Thank you, sir. I'll dive straight to the point. Having witnessed the evolution of India over the decades, as someone based in the US and India, in your view, what has been the most transformative changes in India in the last 60 years, and especially over the last decade?
I think that's a very important question for every Indian, every Bharatiya, those who are living in India and those who are living abroad. I had the fortune of spending good amount of time in India. Of course, I was born and raised in India, and at the age of 24, I came to the United States in 1965. And since then, I've been staying in United States, but for the last 17 years, I've been regularly going to India and spending about 4 or more months doing different social activities. Your question is very important, and we'll try to be brief because there is so much to say about it. But let's start at the 1947, which is what most of us think that we got the freedom in 1947. There were many fundamental mistakes made right at the beginning, that instead of looking at India as Bharat, I think the early leaders, perhaps with good intentions, I have no right to judge their intention, but the outcome has been for the last 50, or I would say almost 60 years, is relatively sad. In spite of the short sightedness by the leaders who took over India from the British, the people of India must be commended, because, in spite of the government's shortcomings, the people kept marching ahead and they did the best they could in the last 60 years. There were too many government restrictions. There was very little freedom to the people of business, professionals, those who want to create industry, grow businesses, and don't even talk about the startup and things like that, because that was far beyond the perhaps the imagination of those leaders of that time. I'm not at all disrespectful to them, of them, because I think they perhaps did the best they could. And as I said, we are not talking about the individuals, we're talking about the outcome, and we wish that the outcome was more encouraging, more empowering, more satisfying, more open. However, in the last 10 years, it has been a dramatic change, the change that the world had not expected India to bring about. Tremendous growth in the true freedom of startup, freedom of professional movement, freedom to the business if they want to grow. And I think it's very evident that the business houses of India today, most of them those who are leading business houses and are practicing the innovation and entrepreneurship are spread throughout the world. And I think that's a great moment for all the Indians in India and outside. And for that, the government that came in power in the last 10 years must be commended. And I do commend them deep from my heart. And I say this because twice I tried to go back to India and it was an utter failure. Now, I cannot blame that all of it on others, perhaps some shortage on my part, but I can tell you to get the telephone, to get this, to get that was just terrible. And I know so many patriot Indians who were trying or wanting to go back and set up their businesses. Most of them failed and had to come back from wherever they started to go into India.
Yes, sir. And that's my next question. Indians have contributed significantly in their host nations, including the US, across business, arts, technology, healthcare, education. In your view, what is the underlying reason for this success?
Underlying reason
For
for
this
the
success, sir, of Indians contributing to the host nations?
it is the in my opinion at least, it is the culture of India, it's the civilization of India, and it is the heritage of India. India, as the world knows, is a Vedic country, and it is a long tradition of over 20, 30,000 years that the tradition of knowledge, of acquisition of knowledge, and the passing on of the knowledge through the well established Gurukul system of ancient Bharat is the root cause for our success wherever the knowledge is required and the application of knowledge is required. Now, somebody will say that we did not study in the Gurukul, I did not. But the thing is, it's in our system, it's in our culture, it's in our upbringing that we are constantly seeking knowledge, new knowledge, both the physical, related to the nature, as well as the spiritual. And therefore, this tradition of nurturing the knowledge is what has helped most Indians in India and abroad to rise to the level that they have risen.
Yes, sir. Chandakji, from the point of view of recent college graduates, how do you think the opportunities available today differ from those in the past? What new avenues have opened up for young professionals in India which you think didn't exist before?
Well, when I am in India every year for 4 months or more, uh, because of my activities which are deeply related to the youth education, as well as other social activities which are related to the seva work, I find that India is full of vibrancy. There's a lot of enthusiasm, there's a lot of hope in the people, and I think I see that being reflected in, and I'm not a government man, so I cannot quote the numbers, but a very large number of startups that are taking place in India. And I know so many youngsters who are, rather than thinking of taking a job, are thinking about what can I start, something new, something to do with the digital technology or something to do with the demand in the market. But their thinking has dramatically shifted from thinking about the job to thinking about an entrepreneurship. And again, this is because, and I have a very good friend, he lives in the same building I do, and he was telling me because he started a startup on a mathematics laboratory. You would have never heard of, I had never heard of before, that there is a thing like mathematics laboratory, and I'm sure there is. So he started one, and he is having a very good success. He started with very little capital, and it's not a tradition of business in his family. They are professional people, but he said that he never had any blockage in the government stream anywhere, and that's very interesting to hear. And I think things like that, and even if I may, uh, the Prime Minister, the Honorable Prime Minister of India, uh, Mr. Modi, he himself, he's so innovative and so creative in every aspect of life, that to uplift the poverty, he's doing all kinds of things that were never done before. Literally not done before in the last 1,000 years, it could be said. And so this whole environment has been fired up, has been empowered, that we can make things better and that we can make things that we did not make before. This kind of confidence, this kind of mindset, I think is helping India grow dramatically. And the credit certainly should go to the leadership of Mr. Modi.
Now that we are speaking about the Prime Minister, sir, how do you view the impact of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's policies and leadership on India's relationship with the United States? Do you think his administration have strengthened the bilateral relationships?
Well, I am not in the foreign affairs. That's not my expertise. But I would say this as a citizen. I'm citizen of United States, and I'm also overseas citizen of India. And because of my spending time in both countries, a significant amount, uh, what I see is that there is a tremendous healthy shift in the relationship between the two countries. And this was not so, because in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, I think the USA focused more on India's neighbor, Pakistan, and later on, I think they were looking up to China for the business growth, and so on. But in the last 10 years or so, I think we see a clear shift in that the United States and India have massive collaborations. I would say, based on what we read in the media and what we hear among the people, is that it's in all the fields. It's in defense. I recently heard the Congressman Raja Krishnamurti of USA talk about it. That he said that India is our prime partner in defense, in education, in technology, in research, and not only that, the cultural exchange and the cultural broad based understanding, in which case the culture of the United States as well as the culture of India should mutually help each other. So there is a very positive tone on the collaborative understanding, the collaborative efforts between the two countries. That's all I can say as a citizen.
Uh, Chandakji, there are numerous troubling reports of violent attacks and even multiple killings of Indians in the USA. Why do you think such incidents are occurring?
Uh, this is a very sad situation. I'm sure even the Americans, when they find out, they definitely would not be very proud of it. And the students, when they are coming to USA, I think it has to be understood by both governments, the people of both the countries, that these students are taking loans of an order of anywhere from 50 to $100,000 or more. They come from middle class, most of them. They leave their families and everything behind with the trust that they are going to a country which is democratic and has the freedom to move around. And they are coming here for higher education, and ultimately they will contribute to the technological growth for the good of the humanity, regardless of where they settle down. Given all of that, the things that are happening, even those of us who live in USA, some homes have been felt insecure. There have been incidents, uh, and it's a little bit more happening right now than we can digest. And exactly what should be done in a circumstance like this would be difficult for me to really elaborate on. But I definitely feel that when it comes to the student population, there are over 200,000 students, perhaps maybe 250,000 students coming from India, amounts to many $billion of revenue coming to the United States. And the United States universities benefit from this, gain from this. So just because a student is coming from another country, that we have no responsibility for them, I think as an American citizen, I'm really sorry to see this. And I strongly feel that it is the responsibility of both the governments to ensure that these situations are under control and that they're fully investigated, so the flow of the students continue, because it's benefiting, it's enriching the academic environment in the United States. And in that case, the universities must take appropriate responsibility for this, which I'm not sure that I have heard about it that much, but I'm sure that they will take a note of it. And I think we should prevent this, we should avoid this, we should eliminate this, and that those who are the criminals committing such crimes should be appropriately punished as per the law of the country. So I just hope that the life of the students and the life of us who are living in this country be relatively safe. We should be free to move. Both countries, India and USA, are democratic. There should be a free movement of people. And that is all that I can say right now. I'm not trying to blame anyone, but I think more people take responsibility for this, better it would be for both United States and India.
But, sir, beyond a pattern of physical harm, there is also like a determined effort to denigrate Indians and Hindus in particular in media and popular culture. In the US as well as in Europe, the effects of this are similar to what Jews have to and still do face: harassment and bullying of our children at schools and our youth at university campuses, at workplaces. So, what do you feel is the reason behind this, sir?
You know, this is something we ought to take very seriously. And particularly when I say we ought to take, by that I mean those who are fortunate in India and those Indians who are abroad and are fortunate, I think they should take a note of this. The media, and I'm not a media man, but I do read the newspapers, I do watch the television, and I do watch a little bit of social media, and have been doing so for the last 60 years of my stay in the United States. Early on in the 60s and 70s and 80s, the media in the United States was definitely very unfavorable to the facts of India. They projected India, or rather India's poverty, and they did not look at many great things that India has done for the world and for itself. They did not really give the consideration to the fact that India has sustained its democracy, the new democracy. We always have been democratic. Our tradition of democracy in India goes back. We may be one of the first ones who have been democratic, and not in the recent political sense, but in the true sense of the freedom of the people and the rule of the people. India has this tradition for thousands of years. However, coming back to your question, the media in the USA, for a number of reasons, which I really don't think we have the time to go through, but they should be looked into. And they are political, economical, as well as religious. And why such bias or prejudice exists is definitely not beyond me. It is unfortunate. It should not be there. And the reason, one reason it should not be there is all that they should do. The media of USA should look at the record of the Indians as far as the crime rate is concerned. And we are 1% of population, and we are paying 5 to 6% of the total income tax that is collected in the United States. And I could be wrong on my quotation, but that's what I have read. So, and we are contributing tremendously to the sustainability, profitability, productivity of the corporate America. And also in the academia, we have a great contribution. We're making a great contribution through our thousands and thousands of medical professionals. And today, our children in this country are serious students, and they are contributing to the enrichment in the field of academic sciences, technology, and so on. So they should, the media of United States must, and of the Europe, must look at, particularly the United States, because we live here. They must look at our record and be square and fair with us. And at the same time, I feel that maybe that we the Indians should also not be too comfortable, that we should also have a dialogue with the media. But unfortunately, I know several organizations have been trying that, but the media of United States, in general, I'm talking about. I'm not saying every single media place, are, for some odd reasons that I think we don't have the time to talk about, are not fair and square. And I hope that they would go to India, see with their own eyes what's happening there, and how India is contributing to the peace of the world, how peaceful the people of India are, and the diversity. If any country has the diversity, and if I have to say this, I'll say this in the middle of the night, it is India. Go and look at it in terms of religion, in terms of language, in terms of everything that you can think of. India is the most diverse country and accommodates all.
So they're also the media, the Western media are also willfully lying about India, deliberately painting the nation, the prime minister, and our people in a poor light. Again, what do you feel is the root cause of this?
I think I can tell you this much. Most people, and I'm talking about good people of India, responsible citizens of India, well read people of India, see this as a as an effort to put down India's success. They feel that they are extremely successful because of their hard work and because of their ability to save money and add to the growth of economic growth of the country. And so they feel that the world is jealous. And whether that is true or not, I think only the the people who are blaming India and who are portraying India in a negative way ought to find out. But the Indians in India are very proud of themselves. This negative publicity is really not affecting them, not stopping them from making progress. And they are hoping, like anything else, that the media in the Western world would see the light of the day sometime. However, their negative publicity directly hurts our children. And when I say our children, the people who are the citizens of the USA of Indian origin, our children and our well being, the cultural well being, the spiritual well being, definitely is affected very negatively by the media in the Western world. And I hope that we succeed in pointing out to them, and we can only do that when they open their doors and when they are willing to listen to us.
Moving on to more positive subjects, what do you think the future holds for Bharat, sir?
Well, Vaishnavi, I am not the one who is an expert on foretelling or forecasting, but based upon, as a citizen, when I move around in the United States and then when I visit India, which I do very frequently, as I explained earlier, what I see is a tremendous positivity, a tremendous sense of hope, and a tremendous feeling that great things can be done sitting in India. And it's not just an emotional thing, but that you can see the results of it happening on the ground. And unprecedented things are happening. Unprecedented things are happening in India, particularly if you think about, and if you start right at the bottom of the ladder, the economic ladder, then the cooking gas, the homes for the poor, the medical benefits for the poor, the discounted prices of the food, all kinds of facilities, the banking facilities, and the remittances that are done, they are directly sent into their accounts. This had never happened until 2014. And therefore, there is a tremendous hope that this country is up to something great. And that's the feeling for most of the citizens in the Bharat, in India. And they are extremely positive about the present leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And you can see these happenings, you can see the roadways, you can look at the airports, the railway stations, the bus stops, the cleanliness, any number of things. These things are very visible. And so, in my opinion, the next 50 years, I don't think there is any stop for the growth and for the great things to happen and for all walks of life, right from the one who has little or nothing to one who has everything. There are possibilities, and this is a great news. And I feel extremely good when I'm in India. I have very good time in every respect of it. And that was not the case in the first 60 years. And I have traveled many times to India during those periods. And there is a vast difference. It's a very clear cut difference in the two situations. And I wish the world would also take a look at it. I'm sure they have taken a look at it because the G20, in my opinion, was an extreme success in India. It was unbelievable. So I personally feel that there is a great future ahead of India and that it has the potential. I do not know how many people in the Western world understand this, but I might briefly explain that most Indians are of the belief that they are the Vishwaguru, which means they are the mentors of the peaceful and prosperous world. And that is why Prime Minister Modi has been promoting what has been around in India for thousands of years, but he brought it back again, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Let this planet be one family. Let this earth belong to all of us. And so, frankly speaking, I think the future of India, the present of India, as well as the future of India, is glorious, has tremendous, tremendous prospects. And I simply wish that the people of India continue their efforts that they have been doing of late in the last 10 years.
Beautiful. Finally, Chandakji, what guidance would you like to share with our audience, especially our youth, with reference to their role in the revival of Bharat?
I would not single out the youth alone, but I would also, with your permission, say that adults,
Yes.
adults of all age groups, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, as I am in 80s. Why I say that is anyone who thinks he is fortunate, that he has lovely parents, and that he has bread and butter coming every day, and that he has the shelter, or she, both, that we have an obligation to India and to the world, and that we must play our role, not just be a watching that okay, India is doing great. I think we have to contribute to that. Those who are living in India, there are a lot of rich people in India, and I think my personal and humble request to them would be, and I would urge to them that kindly come forward and contribute to the extent that you can without making your life painful, but make it joyful and contribute and uplift those who do not have and give them a chance of healthcare, give them a chance of education, give them a chance to have their own home, and so on and so forth. And for the young people, don't be too idealistic. Get some experience of the life. Go around and see it. Visit the poverty if it is anywhere, be it in India, be it in the Western world, be it in United States, and see what you can do. And if you find those who are uneducated or need help in healthcare or any kind, and if you are fortunate, then I think we have a responsibility to contribute to that. And anyone who does something like this will never lose the game, but only will get the joy and the happiness and the pleasure of living a great life. So, my suggestion to the youth is please read, know about your culture, know about your heritage, know where your parents and your grandparents and your great grandparents and your ancestors have come from, and how they have reserved and preserved and sustained the great civilization, the great culture, the great spiritual traditions of which we are benefiting today. So, that would be my suggestion to all the youth, that in addition to be academically successful, make sure that you're professionally successful, that you are socially successful, and that you are spiritually successful, which means that each one of us is delivering the holistic responsibility of coexistence, not just in the Western world, not just in the USA, not just in the Bharat, but anywhere and everywhere you touch the ground.
Thank you, Chandak ji, for your enlightening insights today. To our viewers, please share the video, subscribe to our channel, and follow us on all social media platforms for factual content. Don't forget to click on the video featuring Mr. Jeffrey Armstrong that will come up on your screen in a few seconds, providing a masterful explanation. Thank you, Chandak ji, once again. Namaste.
Namaste, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share some thoughts with my brothers and sisters. Thank you very much to
Yes,
you
sir.
and to the Chitti.
Thank you, sir.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.